I would say how much more I needed to develop myself in an industry that systems have been created to bring you down as an engineer. How hard that journey ahead of me was, I had no idea. I thought all I needed to do was just to endure 5 years of engineering school and I'll be good. Yeah. Engineering work is not hard at all, but the conditions, it's not it's not what I expected at all. This is a common question, and having had different kind of interactions with different people, I understand that different people look at it different ways. You might look at it as a gap, I don't know, or you might look at it as something that needs improvement, if I can say so. If I can give you an example of the engineering education, is largely I would talk about University of Nairobi because that's where I went to. There is no, unless you go for attachment and you find a way to get into the industry. The curriculum itself has no that exposure to what you'd really expect in the outside world. How to make a profitable engineering business, how to grow as an engineer, and just the practical skills. Sometimes you get out there and you realize you need to learn afresh. You need kind of like fresh kind of learning. So I think what can be made better is to have more hands-on. There's this thing that I learned of recently called the dual training. It's implemented at Kiambu Institute of Technology. And I was talking to a mechatronics engineer, and he was today telling me how he went through that dual training. So basically, you study, while you study, you're also doing work. You're seeing like real work happening somewhere, which I know it's there. It's kind of there, but I think we could do more of that. I also got to learn of something of having less contact hours with lecturers and more time doing practical engineering work, doing more assignments, doing more research, doing more projects. That way you engage your mind, and it's not just about going to class, writing notes, reading for exams and passing the exams. Yes, so it makes you more of a thinker, problem solver. So there are things that could be tweaked here and there. There are also topics that you can change how we deliver them. For example, engineering drawings, I absolutely don't know why we should still be doing engineering drawings using the hand, which is, you can do sketches using your hand, but engineering drawing, I think we can start using softwares. And the other day I was at JQuat, and the students were having bridge engineering competitions, and I was so impressed because the proficiency they were showing of engineering softwares was on another level. Yeah. So definitely for education, there are a few tweaks that needs to be made in the curriculum. We could just, the stakeholders could sit and just look at what has changed, what is more beneficial now, what is more needed now, and then make those tweaks and remove what maybe is just not as helpful right now. Why the struggle with direction after campus? Okay, so it could be different kind of reasons, but I peg it majorly to mentorship and lack of opportunities. Even if you have mentorship and you don't have the opportunities, it's almost, there's no point. So there are no opportunities. If you are leaving school and getting opportunities, I don't think there'll be that confusion, because I think the confusion is majorly because they're like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's really going on? 1 year, 2 years into graduation, I thought this was going to be worth it. So I think it's lack of opportunities, but also lack of mentorship. Because with mentorship, you can be able to achieve so much. And recently, I've been told, Marion, it's not just mentorship. We should also be looking at sponsorship in engineering, especially for female engineers. Where you bring opportunities to someone, and an engineer needs to develop maybe public speaking skills. So you give them a platform where they can be able to develop that leadership. You give them the opportunity, the platform to be able to grow themselves in those ways. So it would be, there's no opportunity to apply the knowledge that you've gained. So this, I think, it starts breaking the engineer. It starts making them feel that what the effort they have put wasn't worth it, and it's not the failure of their own. It's just a systemic failure. The reason why some people will progress faster than others, I don't know how this comparison is being made, because unless we say that these two people that you're comparing were given the same opportunities at the same time, with the same conditions, then maybe we can do a comparison. But now, I think what I can say is maybe some of the things that would help you accelerate your growth, no matter your circumstance, because the people who will have to go and start from Koroga, like they would literally go and be into Mkono, and they have graduated. So when you see someone who went and they immediately got a job and they look like they're progressing faster, I don't know what kind of comparison is being made here. But wherever you are, just seek to understand. I know we always want to understand the technical skills, how to execute the technical work, but as early as possible, seek to understand how the profit is made in engineering. Seek to understand how the engineering business part of it works. Because without that, you wouldn't, a lot of things wouldn't make sense to you. So I think that is also something that we should focus on as early as possible. I think once you understand how engineering business works, I think that will accelerate you faster than anything else. And also, the people who you'll find that they're not really interested in the business part, but I think you should. Because even if you were, because the second thing I wanted to say is you could also focus on being so good at one thing, because that is also something that could work for you. Being so specialized and so good at one thing that you do it for many people. You can be so good at Revit, like they just know you for Revit, and then like people will literally be referring you clients to you for one specific thing, to solve one specific problem. You can do that. But once you start doing that and even getting clients, you still need to understand the business aspect of it. So you see why I was saying understanding engineering business is going to set you ahead quick.